Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Man here. If you have been a long time viewer of this channel, you will be well aware of my love and adoration for the Sega Saturn. I have produced a number of videos about the platform and talked about many of the games released on the system. Today we are going to take an in-depth look at Saturn Bomberman. Saturn Bomberman was developed by Hudson Soft and released in 1996 in Japan and 1997 for the rest of the world. I was fortunate enough to procure my copy I have right here of the game in 2013 in CEX. According to the receipt I have in the box, I paid just £15 for this title. Like most games, this sells for a lot more today on eBay, as morons continuously insist on paying more for their games as each year passes. One of the most notable features of this game is the outstanding multiplayer in which the game has to offer. This version of Bomberman can take up to 10 players, so if you are one of the only people in the world who has 10 Sega Saturn controllers and knows 10 people who are willing to play the Sega Saturn, then this is the game for you. Personally, I do not have any friends, unless you include that recycling soy boy Luke Street who occasionally visits, and there is no point in me playing it with him since he is crap at playing these type of games anyway. At face value, Saturn Bomberman is exactly the same as the other 11 Bomberman games that were made prior to this installment, because clearly by 1996 this game hadn't been milked to death enough. The game features your usual battle mode and story mode. There is also a master mode for masters of the game like me, whereby you complete a series of levels and you're ranked based on how fast you can complete them. This is great because if you do know someone like Luke, then you can show them how much better than them you are. Although I do not actually need these bragging rights, since I am confident in my own abilities without needing reassurance from sycophants. Well anyway, if you do well, the score is saved to the memory and is presented on a scoreboard for future reference. Another interesting aspect of this game is that instead of just having multiple multicolored Bombermen, you have a choice of characters from other Hudson Soft games such as Milon from Milon's Secret Castle on the NES, Bonk from Bonk's Adventure from the PC Engine, and Higgins from Hudson's Adventure Island, also on the NES. I like this because it adds an interesting element to the game which wasn't present before. It is also nice on the basis that it adds a nostalgic element for the time period, which wouldn't have been present at the time, because you know, hipsters wouldn't show up for another 18 years after all. In regards to characters, other Bomberman games had those weird rabbit kangaroo thingies which came out of eggs like those odd Australasian animals. This game has dinosaur helpers though instead. These too are found as eggs which appear when certain soft blocks have been destroyed. They come in 3 levels: babies, adolescents and adults, with the adults obviously being the strongest available. The player can ride these freaks of nature and collect power-ups, which will cause the babies and adolescents to turn into adolescents or adults. However, these helpers can only take 1 hit. That's right, even if they are adults, they are so fragile that one teensy wincy little explosion and they will die. Weak and pathetic. Just like everyone who wasn't bloody born until the 1990s and beyond. Bloody millennials, walking around like they rent the place. Although I will say, if you're a crap enough player to get hit by an explosion, then you deserve to watch your beloved Tamagotchi thing die anyway. With further regards to these creatures, there are 5 different coloured dinosaurs, with varying abilities from being able to dash and others being able to leap for soft blocks. The North American version of this also supports the Sega Netlink, for up to 4-player online via 2 players per console. Although, who even had this? Let me know in the comment section if you ever did, and if you ever managed to come across anyone else online at the same time as you as well. Before we discuss the story mode of the game, let's look at what some other sources had to say about the game historically. Now, I wouldn't normally mention about other reviews on games, but I thought I'd mention this. Electronic Gaming Monthly gave Saturn Bomberman the 1997 Game of the Year award for Saturn Game of the Year, basically beating Street Fighter Collection, Madden NFL 98, and it also got Multiplayer Game of the Year as well, which amusingly meant it beat GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64. THGM are obviously deluded beyond reason, but this is a fun fact nonetheless. Speaking of other opinions, ludicrously WatchMojo.com made a video on the best Bomberman games of all time. Yuck. And ranked this game number 1 on their top 10 best Bomberman game list. Who the hell are they anyway to have the audacity to write such a thing? Yeah, sure, it probably is the best Bomberman game, but do we really believe scum like them would have actually had someone play through all the Bomberman games to test this theory in the first place? Probably not. This evil corporate channel clearly just had some silly little 18-year-old researcher write this soulless, fake nostalgia-fueled video. However, thankfully, my viewers have more sense than to watch such tripe anyway. You are here instead, after all. Integrity. Yeah. When you power up the game, you will notice that the graphics in this game are obviously quite good. Well, they're better than the previous installments, which is to be expected, but even by today's standards they still hold up well. There is also a nice bit of anime on there too, for all the weeboos out there. As soon as you turn the game on, you're treated, or should I say subjected to, quite a long cutscene with a lot of Michael Bay explosions for absolutely ages. According to the game's manual, it is up to Bomberman to regain control of some crystals, restore order to a crumbling planet, and defeat the evil Mr. Meanie. You know, all generic plotline video game crap. But then again, who the bloody hell cares about cutscenes and storylines in a Bomberman game? It is all about the terrorism which counts. The story mode levels involve blowing up poles with glowing red orbs on top, which are known as Zarfs, but could be misconstrued as looking like a whole manner of other things. This terrorism must be conducted whilst avoiding or destroying enemies, blowing up blocks and collecting power-ups. Once all of the Zarfs on the level have been destroyed, an exit will appear. Nothing is too out of the ordinary throughout this experience that drastically separates the game from other Bomberman entries in the series. However, everything is polished and arguably bigger and better in this game than in other Bomberman efforts on the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive, for example. I think the Sega Saturn extra processing power elevated this game slightly amongst others in the franchise. All of your usual power-ups are laced throughout the main story mode, and there are an abundance of different enemy sprites with different attack patterns for you to seek and destroy. At the end of each section of levels, you also face off against bosses in bright, colourful encounters. Like in most Bomberman games, this is a fun change of gameplay dynamics throughout your playthrough. Throughout this game, I believe there to be one fantastic layer of entertainment that marries up all of the other elements into one cohesive package, and that is the in-game music. The music throughout this game is simply sublime, and is perhaps a candidate to make you return to this game over and over. Each track is just simply so atmospheric, and is probably my most memorable experience throughout of my Saturn Bomberman playthroughs. the music has been playing throughout this video, so maybe some of you music anoraks can let me know what you think of the soundtrack within the comment section. So to summarise, if you're a fan of the Bomberman series, you cannot really do much better with a Bomberman game than you can do with this one. The game includes all of the best elements the series is known for, and is yet another reason why the Sega Saturn is such a hot system to want to procure. Thank you for watching today's video. Do not forget to like, comment and subscribe for regular in-depth content just like this on this channel. What games would you like to see me cover in detail, which you feel perhaps do not get given the attention they deserve? Also, I would just like to mention that I have recently launched a second channel known as Top Hat Chat, where I shall be regularly discussing various things gaming related, so I would love for you all to come over and join me on that channel too. Top Hat Chat is the future, so come and say hello. Shoutouts to Cole Johnson, Shizuka Kabayashi, Minty Oblivion, Victor Rain, Since Spacies, Kevin Fahili, David Mountford, Andrew Bazanski, Agnes Garcia, Edward O'Reilly, Pizza Dawn, Retail Archaeology, Diego Pereira dos Santos Silva from Porto, Portugal, and all of my other patrons. Combined, you all help me find motivation to continue to churn out regular content. So, if you would like to support one of the hardest working men on all of YouTube, then why not support this channel on Patreon? Yeah. Cheerio!